Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. RCMP say multiple homes on the Big Island Lake Cree Nation were struck by bullets following a second shooting in the community last week. Police say just before 11 o'clock Friday night, they received several reports of gunshots. Their investigation has now determined shots were fired and several houses were hit. But no injuries have been reported to police. RCMP say they're still trying to determine if this shooting is connected to last Tuesday's fatal shooting on the First Nation. On December 30th, a dangerous persons alert was issued after a shooting took the life of a 31-year-old man and injured 3 others who were sent to hospital. The manhunt for 2 suspects believed to be armed with a gun is still underway. RCMP say they're still trying to work to find the pair. The Salvation Army's temporary warming center opened its doors during the daytime hours for the first time on Monday. On Friday, the Salvation Army moved into the Union Center next to the Legion and began providing services, including its overnight warming center, adding the daytime hours on Monday. The Prince Albert Grand Council lent its Urban Services building as a temporary location for the warming center's overnight hours.
To deliver is our shower program and our laundry program, because this building is not set up for that.
Salvation Army Major Ed Dean says a local church has lent space for the Salvation Army to use as its office and chapel. 2 men convicted of manslaughter and aggravated assault more than 3 years ago will wait until the end of the month to learn their fate after final arguments in court today. In August of 2022, James Swift was stabbed to death on the outskirts of Saskatoon. Ashton Ritzand and Colton Lichka were charged with second-degree murder, but after their trial earlier this year, they were instead convicted of manslaughter and aggravated assault after a judge ruled neither could be ruled the stabber with too many unanswered questions. After meeting Swift and his friend Virginia Bellhumer in a parking lot, the pair and a third person that's been sentenced went to buy cocaine. Then an argument ensued about who would hold the cocaine, resulting in Swift dying in the ditch and Bellhumer bleeding with 3 stab wounds. The Crown argued for sentences of 10 to 12 years, while the defense argued for a sentence of 4 years for Lichka and a total of 7 years for Ritzand.
We have this range that courts have recognized. There can be an infinite variety of circumstances that are involved in a manslaughter conviction, but in this case, our clients were not the stabbers.
The judge will sentence both men at the end of the month. A small Saskatoon business has had enough of windows being smashed by vandals. The business is moving to eliminate the costly repairs. The Perfect Cup Cat Cafe had its front window smashed just over a year ago, and within less than 2 weeks, the brand new window was smashed again. Plywood now sits in the place of the window, and the owner isn't replacing it again due to the cost. She's raising money through a GoFundMe to pay for a down payment to move to First Avenue across from Midtown Mall. She hopes more visibility will improve the safety for the cats and staff, but her options are limited due to zoning regulations.
But if somebody was to manage to punch it all the way through, then that opens a hole for cats to be able to leave. I'm hoping that they'd be smart enough to not do that. But, you know, we have some rambunctious cats in here that are like something new, and out they go, which I have nightmares about that sometimes.
Saskatoon police reported fewer incidents of mischief downtown in 2025 compared to 2024. It says there were 284 complaints last year compared to 346 in 2024. Animal rescues are seeking help after more than 30 cats were saved from a condemned house last week. RCMP found a dead person inside the home near Wynyard during a wellness check. Various animal rescues were called in to help remove the cats, who say scenes like this one are not uncommon.
This is not an isolated incident. This is in every community in Saskatchewan and in Canada. And there just is not supports, and we're failing people and animals.
Rescues are urgently seeking foster homes and donations to help house the rescued cats and provide them with medical care. Well, hopefully not a whole bunch of new snow in there because, Jeff, those ruts out there on the roads are getting bad.
They are getting bad, and I'm afraid to say they may get worse as we make our way into next week because, John, we do have a significant warm-up on the way, and that could create, you know, some melting and freezing and melting and freezing, and it could create quite the mess. But we'll deal with that as it comes along. But right now, a fairly quiet pattern. I've been saying that for, you know, more than a day now about this area of a lack of active weather across the prairie provinces. Different situation for British Columbia. They're expecting a lot of rain. We'll talk about the rain and the warm-up on the way for the prairies later on.
Premier Scott Moe is promising an open discussion this year about planned innovations for healthcare. The Premier first made the pledge last month during media interviews. Moe said his government will continue to pursue innovative approaches to ensure Saskatchewan families can access high-quality healthcare close to home. The Saskatchewan NDP is concerned it could lead to private healthcare options.
My message to Scott Moe and the Sask Party, if you really think that you are going to dismantle and destroy public health care in the birthplace of Medicare, you better be ready for a fight, because we will not stand by and watch you dismantle public health care in the birthplace of Medicare.
The province says the NDP wants to cancel publicly funded, privately delivered healthcare programs already in place. The Achapowace First Nation has put a temporary bylaw into effect concerning the control of dogs on the reserve. In late December, a 12-year-old boy was found deceased on the First Nation, with locals suspecting a dog attack. The RCMP have yet to determine the cause of death, saying weather or other elements may have played a factor. The new bylaw took effect on Monday, and its stated purpose is to protect community safety, preventing dogs from roaming freely or forming packs within the reserve. The cost of putting food on the table continues to rise. Year over year, grocery store prices are up 3.5% in Saskatchewan. That's slightly above the national average. The Statistics Canada report, shows roasted coffee had the largest price spike, along with fish, meats, and fruit. Food experts say interprovincial trade barriers continue to have a direct impact on the cost of transporting food. When we come back, another edition of Indigenous Circle. Mick Favel explores Michelle Good's appointment to the Order of Canada.
Greetings, everyone. The Order of Canada is one of the highest honors a civilian can receive in this country. Now Saskatchewan writer, poet, and lawyer Michelle Good has been appointed this great distinction. Jacob Carr explains how the Maple Creek resident and member of the Red Pheasant Cree Nation is feeling after being chosen to receive one of the country's highest honors.
Michelle Good, best known for her debut novel Five Little Indians, was one of 80 new appointees to the Order of Canada in 2025, and one of only 2 from Saskatchewan. Five Little Indians focuses on 5 survivors as they struggle to rebuild their lives in Vancouver after leaving Canada's Indian residential school system.
I got some pretty amazing feedback from readers about how it changed their point of view. And so, hopefully that's the kind of work that I can continue to do.
Good told CTV News that being appointed to the Order of Canada was a massive surprise as well as a tremendous honor. She followed up her debut novel with 2023's Truth Telling, 7 conversations about Indigenous life in Canada.
She approaches it both from the perspective of fiction, which can bring a lot of empathy to the conversation, but she also writes nonfiction, and she's an amazing researcher, so she really has all the facts and statistics that back up those personal experiences.
Good says it's important to write the stories she does because it provides context into Indigenous reality in Canada. According to Good, that is a very dark reality that includes the over-incarceration of Indigenous people and the vast number of the missing and murdered Indigenous women.
If we can get underneath that myth of Canadian history and experience or understand the precursors to these impacts, then I think we can have a far more meaningful relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Canada.
Good says her next novel is coming out in August and is written in 3 parts that follows 3 generations of Indigenous women from colonial to modern times. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
Jeff has a look at weather when we come back and the risks associated with kids and high-dose caffeine pouches. Jeff, from the last time we spoke, I think it's even warmed up a degree or 2, maybe even 3. Am I out to lunch?
Are you talking about like a few minutes ago?
Yeah, I swear, it feels warmer.
Okay, it's your coffee kicking in. That's all I'm going to go with. But yes, I tell you, we've got a warming trend on its way. There will be a little bit of a drop down in temperatures back to seasonal values, John. But as we roll into next week, plus temperatures abounding, and that could create some problems. So across the prairies, quiet situation, not a lot of active weather. Things will be starting to warm up. We've got some gusty winds through Alberta coming off the Front Range, and that's going to help push some of that warm air into Saskatchewan. Out in BC, starting tonight into tomorrow, a lot of rain, certainly on western parts of Vancouver Island, Lower Mainland, even around Vancouver, and the higher elevations, the mountain passes, lots of snow. So kind of a messy situation there. And in central Canada, yes, we have more in the way of rainy weather and a mix of conditions for parts of the Great Lakes region. And a low is going to continue to make its way out towards Atlantic Canada. And Atlantic Canada could be dealing with a lot of rain. We get the Wednesday and Thursday rain, and then ultimately Thursdays we're probably talking about some freezing rain in Newfoundland. So kind of an interesting situation there. Not a lot to show you across the prairies. These pressure lines staying far apart, so we're not anticipating a lot in the way of strong winds, and there's hardly anything in terms of precipitation. A low is going to come slipping across on Wednesday and Thursday into Thursday, but it really doesn't add up to much. Minus 14 degrees in Spiritwood and Birch Hills in the Battlefords, minus 18 overnight in Candle Lake, minus 16 in Rosthern, minus 14 as well in Melfort, and minus 17 the overnight number in Nipawin. Tomorrow, mild conditions, even though it's minus 10 in Birch Hills and Nipawin, it's going to be, that is above seasonal, so certainly above seasonal conditions of minus 9 degrees for Candle Lake and Melfort and Rosthern, minus 6 in Spiritwood, minus 8 in North Battleford, and you can see cloudy or mainly cloudy skies on Wednesday. So for Prince Albert area, mainly clear skies tonight, just a few clouds out there, and the wind's shifting around a little bit, but it's not a very strong wind, so it doesn't mean like it would really getting in the way of anyone in terms of kicking up snow or creating visibility issues. Making our way into Wednesday, cloudy skies on Wednesday, minus 9, so about 3 or 4 degrees above seasonal for Prince Albert and area. Cloudy skies, and again, relatively light winds, light to moderate. In the middle of the afternoon, we're looking at northwesterly winds at 15 kilometers an hour, so not really strong winds at all. So minus 9, as we mentioned, for tomorrow, minus 11 on Thursday, back to seasonal temperatures on Friday, a high of minus 12, minus 10 on Saturday, but then 3 degrees on Sunday and 2 on Monday and Tuesday. Top up that windshield wiper fluid because it is going to get sloppy and messy out there. And I'm afraid at nighttime we're probably looking at some slippery conditions because even though the temperatures are mild, they're still going to be on the minus side in the overnight.
And I just figured out what it was. I think the lower wind makes all the difference in this province, doesn't it?
It certainly helps.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, thanks, Jeff. Last night, the World Junior Hockey Championship came to a close in Minnesota with the gold medal game between Czechia and Sweden, and it featured 2 Prince Albert Raiders in Mattias Mann and Michael Orsolak. The Czechs had an impressive tournament, losing only once in the round robin before they got revenge in the semifinal, bouncing Team Canada for a 3rd year in a row. In the gold medal game, Sweden jumped out to a 3-0 lead and held on for most of the game. But with less than 3 minutes to go and the goalie pulled, the Czechs scored 2 desperation goals. But Sweden scored the empty netter to seal it 4-2. With the loss, Czechia earns silver. Meanwhile, Canada beat Finland 6-3 for the bronze medal. Next year's tournament will be held in Red Deer and Edmonton. The SJHL Tankard in Melville continues with draw 3 on the men's side. Earlier today, Kelly Knapp and Steve Laycock combined for some impressive shots in draw 2.
Makes the contact. Will he make contact with the red? He does. Where does the shooter end up? He's going to make this shot. 3.
Laycock scored 3 on that shot, but Knapp's rink improved to 2-0 with a 10-6 victory. Ryan Kleider beat Tyler Hartung. Joshua Bryden won over Carl DeConnick-Smith. Bradley Moser won 7-6 in the extra end over Dustin Kaltoff. On the women's side, the Prairie Pinnacle had undefeated teams Penny Barker and Sarah Miller. And with more on the event, here's Virginia DeClute.
After a 5-year wait, the Provincial Curling Championships are back at the CN Community Center in Melville.
The last one was just when COVID was on. They had the provincials that year.
Back in 2020, the women's event hit the ice first, then the men a week after. This year, both championships are playing at the same time, with the finals set for Sunday. For a small town like Melville, this is a huge event.
Well, it would be much larger than anything that usually takes place in our town. Like, this is the 4th provincial we've hosted, though, so the people in town are used to this particular event.
9 men's and women's teams are competing, with the women's winner representing Saskatchewan at the Scotties, the men's champion going to the Brier. It's a lineup that has those in attendance ready to rock.
The younger curlers, but I'm excited to see Martin from Saskatoon, I think she is, and anyone else. I love curling.
The organizers hope that this event will also motivate people to take up the sport as a hobby.
Like all the other sports, people aren't taking part as much in many things. I'm not sure what they're doing, but so there's less people doing curling or hockey or baseball or whatever sport we are. So our participation is way down from what it would have been, say, 30 years ago.
The event runs between January 5th and 11th. Ruth says she'll try to make it to as many draws as she can.
Probably some of every day. I have other things to do, but some of every day. Yep. And especially when the finals are on.
Curling fans can enjoy high-stakes games all week long at the Melville Community Center. Virginia DeClute, CTV News, Melville.
A team of SJHL All-Stars is returning from a revitalized hockey tournament with the top prize.
Jumping on. Go, taking a shot. Andrews now a shot. A rebound, and he scores!
Ethan Andrews of the Estevan Bruins scoring the overtime winner for Team SJHL at the Viking Cup in Camrose. The juniors beat Alberta College team the St. Trojans 5-4 in the championship game. The Yorkton Terriers winger Tylen Henriksen scored the tying goal with less than 15 seconds left in the third period.
Give some credit to kind of the league and the commissioner and the 12 teams in our league that shows that we can produce good players that can play at the next level. There's lots of alumni on those ACAC teams like St. and Augustana, and I think it goes to show kind of that our development model is working and that we can produce top level talent as well.
Team SJHL is the first team to win the Viking Cup in 20 years. The Viking Cup featured 2 Canadian and 1 American post-secondary institution, the SJHL All-Stars, and a Czech University All-Star team.
Do you have a community event you would like to promote? Or maybe you'd like to draw attention to your organization. Let your local CTV station help you spread the word. Contact us at 306-922-6020 or email panews@ctv.ca. You can appear on CTV Prince Albert's News at 5 and get your message to our viewers.
Flu cases remain high across the country, and health experts say it's not too late to get a flu shot if you're considered at high risk.
The flu virus, first of all, there's 3 flu viruses that circulate seasonally. They all mutate. That's just what they do. They do this every year. They're going to continue to do this for the foreseeable future. That's what viruses do. And that's why the vaccine is slightly different every year. The flu virus mutates. We try to catch up with the vaccine, and it's a bit of an arms race. This year, the vaccine does not cover H3N2 as much as we would like. It still has some protection, just not as much as we would like. And remember, when we talk about protection, we're not just talking about protection against infection. We're also talking about mitigating severity of infection if you do get an infection and had the vaccine.
The World Health Organization says influenza activity is elevated globally. The H3N2 strain is predominant in most of the world. Doctors are sounding the alarm about a troubling trend among teens and kids as they see a rise in young people using illegal high-dose caffeine pouches.
Yeah, like, if a person is using these caffeine pouches, you might see that they're more irritable compared to normal. They might have a tremor in their hands and extremities, and it might appear to be more anxious. And, as you mentioned, it's dangerous because a lot of these pouches have doses of caffeine much higher than just a regular cup of coffee.
Risks include cardiovascular issues and gastrointestinal problems. When it comes to caffeine intake for teens, Health Canada recommends no more than 2.5 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. That equates to roughly 1 cup of coffee a day for someone who weighs 125 pounds. Canadians are continuing to struggle when it comes to exercise, according to a new report. The 2025 Participation Report Card finds 46% of adults are meeting physical activity guidelines. That equates to a C- grade. Meanwhile, Canadians get a D grade when it comes to getting enough steps per day, doing muscle strengthening activities, and participating in sports. The report warns physical inactivity costs Canada $3.9 billion a year in healthcare costs every year. Adults who are active every day have a 30% lower risk of depression and dementia. So there you go. How about that? You want to get
that's a tough report card.
A little more activity is probably a good idea, Jeff. And I don't know, did you watch the World Juniors last night?
I did not. I did not catch any of it. No, I'm afraid not.
I have to say, as a Canadian, we probably all took it on the chin. Sometimes we need that, and I'm really proud of those two guys representing their country.
Yes,
bringing
absolutely.
some medals back to the Raiders.
100%. Very good.
Not a bad end to the tournament. Maybe not if you're the host team, though. No goodie bags if you're the Americans.
No, it was pretty rough on those young Americans, yeah.
Well, next year it'll be in Alberta. We'll see who's going to win that one.
Woohoo!